Welcome to Hotze Elite Physicians Podcast, where you'll learn how to help your patients obtain and maintain health and wellness naturally, and how you can have more time, more money, and more freedom to enjoy your life. And now your host, Dr. Hotze.
I Googled the search term, do physicians enjoy practicing medicine today? And you can't imagine the smorgasbord of articles that popped up. Hello, I'm Dr. Steve Hotze, and I believe you need a coach. You need a successful doctor to help you build a successful medical practice. So thank you for joining me today on this podcast, and it's entitled, Do Physicians Enjoy Practicing Medicine? Well, I've spoken with numerous physicians, and they tell me, one after another, how pessimistic they feel about the current state of medicine, how they feel burdened by the insurance and government regulations and all the paperwork they have to do. They lack clinical autonomy because the insurance companies give them clinical practice guidelines that they must follow if they stay in the network, and this disgusts them. They're distrustful of all hospital employment, but they're concerned that they're going to have to join a hospital because they can't make their practice work successfully and profitably. They're worried about declining insurance reimbursements and slow pay, and they're burned out about all the time they're spending in their practice. They feel like they're on a hamster wheel, and their income continually declines. So, do you think these physicians I've visited with enjoy practicing medicine? Well, they don't. But I do. I made a decision back in the late 1980s that I was not going to join an HMO and PPO. And despite the fact that there was a huge movement towards getting all the doctors signed up on HMOs and PPOs in the early 1990s, I was fortunate enough to have a woman on my staff who told me, after my chief of staff said, and my office manager said, you'll never have a practice if you don't join these insurance plans. She told me, Doctor, this is one of my key staff members who's now the president of my company, told me, Doctor, if you join one of these plans, I'm going to throw myself down kicking and screaming on the floor. The practice I worked for previously, which was a pediatric practice, joined the HMOs and PPOs, and we were flooded with patients. Our doctors saw twice as many patients that they had been seeing before. They could only spend a few minutes with them. We were swamped. Our staff's morale went down. We had to have all kind of insurance clerks, and it was a terrible situation. I saw how it destroyed that practice. It destroyed the morale not only of the staff, but of the physicians that worked there. You don't need to do this. You offer something different, which is natural approaches to health. You offer something different that patients will pay for. Don't do it. And I took her advice and didn't do it, and I thank God that I didn't. Now, way back then, I was primarily in allergy practice, doing some natural approaches to health, but I did allergies, airborne and food allergies, treated for yeast problems, which people commonly have with allergies because they had recurrent and chronic sinus and bronchial infections. They were on antibiotics all the time. And I used vitamin and mineral supplementation. And this time I'd already started using natural desiccated thyroid hormones in patients. And this was about 1994, 95. So at that time, we did take major medical, and we would require our patients to pay 20% of the cost of our treatment, at which time we would bill for them, the insurance companies, but we would not take assignment. If the insurance companies did not cover the entire fee, then the patients were responsible to pay the entire cost of their treatment. And then in 2001, I made a decision that we are no longer going to even bill major medical for the patients. We expected all the patients to provide us cash at the time that payment was made. And so we've been on a strictly cash-based practice since that time. We do provide our patients with a insurance-ready receipt that they can send to the insurance company, but we tell our patients that if you expect insurance to reimburse you, and that's the only reason you can come in is if you have insurance that reimburses you, then you're not a good candidate for our program because you've got to be willing to make an investment in your health, and insurance companies routinely don't pay for natural approaches to health. They have a protocol, a clinical practice guideline they expect every doctor to use and utilize with their patients. So that's the reason that we have completely got and removed ourselves completely out of the insurance system altogether, and we have a cash-based practice. Now, The doctors that are frustrated, disgusted, pessimistic, concerned about the future of their practices, the future of medicine, have a right to be that way. But the reason that doctors feel this way is they're still part of this insurance and this, what I like to call the medical industrial complex. They're beholden to the insurance companies, to the hospitals, to their major medical societies, and also to the government for following their clinical practice guidelines, which prevents them from straying away from conventional medical practice. And so I looked at some Google searches on how being a doctor became the most miserable profession by a doctor by the name of Danielle Drake. And here are some points that Dr. Drake makes. 90% of the doctors discourage their children from joining the medical profession. The highest or the second highest suicide rate among professionals is among doctors. It costs $58 for you to process an insurance claim. The average time you get to spend with a patient is about 10 minutes. And insurance difficulties, that is, declining insurance reimbursements and slow pay, have caused many doctors to have to close their practices. Doctors are also in a rush because you only have 10 minutes. You got a slew full of patients out in the waiting room, and you don't have time to listen to them. And every doctor worries about a decision he makes and how that might be affected in malpractice litigation. Dr. Shannon, another doctor, wrote Why I Left Medicine, a burnout doctor's decision to quit. And she said many doctors don't ask her why she left. They simply ask her, how were you able to do it? At first, she felt guilty about abandoning her career. Now she sees it as self-preservation. Her practice of medicine just got too stressful for her, although she enjoyed helping her patients. She interviewed a doctor by the name of Mark Linzer, who researches physician burnout, and he found there are 4 major factors. There's the time pressure, there's the degree of control regarding work, the work pace, and what he called the level of chaos at most doctors' office. And there was a problem with the alignment that doctors had in their values over that of hospital administrations and also of insurance companies. In his study in 2012, Dr. Linzer found that 1/2 of practicing physicians had symptoms of burnout. There was an online poll in 2012 that showed that 54% of doctors would not choose medicine again. The third website I looked at was written by Dr. Thomas Feely, who happens to be an anesthesiologist and doesn't practice medicine seeing his patients every day. His patients are basically put to sleep. But he had some comments about the practice of medicine, and he reiterated what the other doctors have said. Unlike 50 years ago, most doctors would not choose to become a physician if they had it to do over. And the reasons were all the electronic medical records, bureaucracy, insurance companies, all the denials from insurance companies and decreased reimbursements and slow pay, information overload, long hours, declining reimbursement, and the sacrifice to family time. But he was optimistic. He said, you can overcome that. All you have to do is just enjoy seeing patients. And so you don't make a lot of money. Just practice medicine and enjoy it. And it was interesting to read the articles that people wrote, the comments after his article. There was one doctor who wrote, he said, well, Dr. Feely, help me explain. I have $300,000 in student loans. If I don't make money and I just practice medicine just for goodwill, then how in the world am I going to pay back my loans? I happen to believe that my time is valuable and my knowledge is valuable, and I want to work with individuals who are willing to compensate me handsomely for the products and services I provide them. Now, contrary to what Dr. Feely wrote, every one of you in the practice of medicine operates a business. And you go, oh my gosh, doctor, we're not businessmen, we're medical doctors. Well, unfortunately, that's true, but you should be. The definition of a business is an activity by which a product or service is exchanged for money. Don't you do that every day in your office? And that means you are a business. My business coach tells me, he says, Dr. Hotze, when problems are solved, money exchanges hands. And that's the wonderful thing about a cash-based practice. People will pay you handsomely if you help them get what they want. And what do they want? They want good health. They want their lives back. They want to be energetic. They want to think clearly. They want to be thin. They want to be trim. They want to sleep well. They don't want to have joint and muscle aches and pains and gastrointestinal problems. They want to have good romantic moods and inclinations. They want to have get up and go. And that's what you can provide them by getting them on a plan of health and wellness naturally. And they will compensate you handsomely. They will tell their family and friends to go see you. That's free enterprise medicine. And that's what I believe in. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. One last website that I looked at was called the Doctor Dropout Club. That's right, the Doctor Dropout Club. Now, the Doctor Dropout Club says that it is a premier recruiting site for doctors and scientists pursuing innovative careers. It was established and founded by former students of the Columbia College of Physicians and Surgeons who were working for Credit Suisse and McKinsey Company. And what they do is they help doctors get out of the medical profession and get into another line of work. And mind you, there are a lot of companies that would like to have individuals that have biomedical background, and these are in investment companies to help them determine what would be good investments for them to make. So there's a Doctor Dropout Club that you can take a look at, and you might be interested in doing that if you've thrown up your hands. But the reason that I'm doing this podcast is to tell you that you can make a change. I can help you do that. If you want to do a 180 and don't want to drop out of medicine, if you want to have more time, more money, and more freedom to enjoy your life where your patients obtain and maintain health and wellness naturally, then now's the time to get started. I can help you do that. I've established Hotze Elite Physicians to provide training in both medical protocols, including the treatment of patients for thyroid and hormonal imbalances and detoxification, treatment of yeast. I also have more than 40 business training modules for you to learn and apply business protocols that will help your practice become successful. All you need to do is when you go through the training program is take notes, and we have PDFs right after it that will summarize what I teach in my modules. So you can get started today. I want to recommend you do 3 things. First, visit my website, HotzeElite.com, and check out the earlier podcasts and my blog. Sign up to get some free resources mentioned on the site. I have some training modules there I think that you will find very interesting and helpful to you. And finally, I'd recommend that you go online and fill out the application to join Hotze Elite Physicians. If you're accepted, then you will gain access to all my medical and business protocols. So take a few minutes to fill out the application and submit it. If you meet our standards, then one of my assistants will contact you to set up a complimentary consultation to determine the best way to proceed. Once again, I'm Dr. Steve Hotze, and I believe you need a coach, a successful doctor, to help you build a successful medical practice so that you can have more time, more money, and more freedom to enjoy your life. And we're here to help you get started.
If you're ready to do a 180 and take charge of your practice and your life, make sure to visit HotzeElite.com for all the tools and resources you need to transition into a cash-based practice. More time, more money, and more freedom to enjoy your life is waiting for you at HotzeElite.com.
This podcast is solely for educational purposes and does not constitute